behind? Well, I can tell you I've been working from home for the last few years because I started my own business early on in my life. So the special time we're in right now, those are not very big changes for me because for the last couple of years, I've always worked from home or from wherever I was in the world at that time. You know, twice a year I'm in Hawaii nowadays and love to travel with my friends, love to go to workshops and conferences to grow as a person, to grow my business, to grow my wellness. So from wherever I am, I'm fully functional when it comes to working, but also when it comes to relaxing. So I'm going to share a few productivity secrets with you from the last years of working from home, because I know many people, they have a kind of house arrest at the moment and the whole family is at home and a lot of people move from their workplaces to their homes. And it can be quite challenging when you've been used to going to the office in the morning, having a certain set hours when you are there and no distractions, and now you're at home and you can work in your free time basically, or you have to look at the hours when you're productive and the hours in which you are not, and that can be quite a challenge. First of all, the number one thing I noticed about working, whether it is from home or anywhere else in the world, is that every person has a different rhythm of productivity during the day. So when I started my business back in 2014, with the preparation that went in that in the years before that, I always thought that in order to be successful, I had to get up really early, like 5 a.m., like 6 a.m. in the morning. And I really had that thought in my mind, or that belief. If I don't get up early, I cannot be productive the rest of the day. You know, many people say that. And when we go to school, we are trained to get up early and to be productive in the morning. But every human being is a little bit different. We have it in our genes which times of the day we are most productive and which times we better rest. Have you ever had a time during your day where it was really an effort for you to focus and to be productive, whereas on other times of the day you are naturally in your flow and you get the best ideas and you're the most productive? I discovered that about myself in the last few years, which led me to release that belief that in order to be successful, I had to get up early. First of all, when you work from home, find out when your most productive hours are. If you're on your own, you can, of course, you can spend your time freely. But if you have a family, of course, you also have to look, when can I be most productive when the rest of my family is not in full action or requiring my attention. So that's a little bit of a juggle here, but still I'll let you in on another secret in a moment that allows you to even do that. So first of all, find out at which times of the day you're naturally the most productive. For example, some people, I know, a lot of people actually who get up actually early in the morning. And then some people get up at 4 a.m., at 5 a.m., at 6 a.m. And you might be one of those persons who uses the peacefulness and the quietude of the early morning hours to get things done, to be productive, and to basically take off the rest of the day. That might be you. And then I know many people who are most productive during the afternoon hours, where they get the most ideas and where the flow of inspiration flows almost effortlessly. And then I know many people who are in their best productivity during the evening or even night hours. I'm that kind of a night owl, at least in German we call it a night owl, when you are most productive and most awake in the late afternoon and in the late night hours. I'm one of them, and it took me some time to figure that out, because when I got up in the morning, my whole body was still sleeping. I would have breakfast at 10 or 12, even if I got up at 6, because my body wasn't fully awake yet. Even while I was still in that rhythm, when I was at the different hospitals and in the studies, I was studying medicine before I started my own business. And that was really a challenge for me. Because, of course, you can get used to any rhythm. If, let's say, for example, you have to get up early, but you're a night person, then naturally you are tired during the night hours because you have to get up early if you do that for some time. But really, naturally, what are the best hours for you to be productive? When do you feel in your peak performance, really, in a natural way? For me, it's really the afternoon and night hours. It's like a switch. And it was interesting for me to find out that it already is in our genes, what kind of productivity type we are. Like I said, of course, we can get used to everything, but in which hours are you really in your natural flow of productivity? So for me, I stopped making appointments in the early morning hours because I knew, okay, when I do that in the afternoon or in the evening, it requires much less effort for me, and it just flows naturally. So first of all, when you work from home, find out what your best productive hours are during the day, where you do things effortlessly and where you're naturally awake and fully present. You know, some night persons, they're like zombies in the morning. And they cannot get really things done then. So I basically have a different rhythm every day, but like my peak productivity hours are in the afternoon, in the evening, sometimes even at nighttime, when everything is quiet around me. And then all the things from the day are done. And then I just have those quiet hours to focus and to work on something. And that's really most helpful for me. So just find out what your best hours during the day are and how you can combine that with your family life if you live with your family. Then the second thing, many people who are used to being employed somewhere, going to work at a certain hour, leaving work at a certain hour, many of those people think in terms of working hours. Today I have to work 8 hours, the next day 8 or 9 or 10 hours. And what I started doing, even before I started my own business, was thinking in projects. Which projects do I want to move forward today? And then I work a lot with my calendar, putting things in my calendar, and I look at the day ahead and the week ahead and the month ahead, sometimes the year ahead, depending on what I'm planning. But for the usual normal week, I look at the day ahead. And then I realistically look at how much sleep do I need, what kind of breaks do I need to eat, to relax, to do some exercise. And then I put in my working hours. And it's not a certain amount of hours I work. Sometimes I work 12 to 14 hours a day. Sometimes I just work 1 or 2. Some days I don't work at all. So it's really different, not depending on the actual time spent, but depending on the project. And really a magic word is focus. What I do during the day is to put in focus hours, or I call them 90 power minutes, because many studies have shown that during 90 minutes we can be in our peak performance. And then during those 90 minutes, I schedule them in my calendar, and I schedule in when I want to start working, when I want to do this time block. And then what's most interesting is when you do different things scattered during the day, like making a phone call here or doing something creative here, or learning something new here, your brain is in different states of brain waves when you're creative, or when you're learning something, or when you're productive with creating something new. So during those 90 power minutes, time blocks, you really focus your brain waves as well. So when I have phone calls, for example, during the day, I do a number of phone calls during those 90 minutes. In compared to just doing them throughout the day. Well, I have days like this and days like that, but usually in those 90 focused minutes, I also use the power of my brain waves, because when I'm in that state of talking to people, of being focused, of having a goal in mind and helping them move forward, then my brain is also in that state. The brain waves are all flowing in the direction of being communicative, of being creative with solutions. And it feels much easier for me to do a number of phone calls during 90 minutes than during them scattered throughout the day. And every time right before the phone call, I have to get into that new state. So that's one of the productivity secrets that I discovered during my many years of being in my own business, that doing things in a row really has the power of focusing your brainwaves and your productivity. And 90 minutes really means 90 minutes without distractions. Did you know that when you are distracted by something like a message coming in, an email or a phone call, or you see something interesting and just take a look at it for like 20 seconds, did you know that it takes you on average 15 minutes to get back to the original task, which can make 90 minutes of focus really, really hard, when like every 15 minutes you have to refocus on the original task. That's why I've turned off most of my notifications on my phone and on my computer. I just get notified when someone calls me, but the rest, I just look into that myself whenever I set the time to do that. And that's a kind of discipline you can set up for yourself as well. When you work from home and you want to get things done, make sure that whatever time block you set up, be it 60 minutes or 90 minutes, that you are not disturbed during that time. Because remember, it takes you on average 15 minutes to get back to the original task. So many times I even have my phone switched off when I don't need it during the 90 power minutes. And you might say, oh, what will the people around me say if they cannot reach me? What if there's an emergency or whatever? Usually your friends and family get used to it. When they experience it a couple of times, or you just communicate it openly, they know that whenever they call you and you pick up the phone, you're not disturbed by them, but you are in a time where you're open for the conversation. But they also know that when your phone is switched off, or when you don't take the phone call, that you are in your 90 focus minutes or whatever task you're doing at the moment. Maybe just relaxing and taking some quiet time for yourself without any disturbances. But they get used to it, and if you have kids around or people who depend on you, you can even make a deal with them, with your kids, for example, that you just say, I'm taking the 90 minutes to focus, and you give them a reward for afterwards. For example, I'm taking this 90 minutes to focus, and afterwards you have my full attention. But let me focus on this 90 minutes, then I know I have it done, and I don't have to look at it for the rest of the day. And then you have more of my attention than just putting your head into the door and asking questions or whatever. And that way, you can be more focused and get more things done and be happier during the day as well. That, of course, it depends on the age of your kids. If you have very small kids, even a baby, it doesn't care if you set 90 focus minutes, if it's hungry or you have to change diapers. That's not interesting for the little children. But maybe you have a partner or grandparents or whoever person can help you do those 90 focus minutes, or you can even schedule it into your day when the kids are sleeping or when they are busy with something else, with playing or drawing or whatever. So get creative on how you get those 60 or 90 power minutes. I can definitely tell you from my experience that if you do those time blocks where you work on a certain project undisturbed, then you really move forward the most, because you can ride on the power of your brain waves who are all in alignment with that task. You don't have to take time to get into that particular task if you do it 90 minutes in a row. And you also don't have to waste time and energy to refocus when there are distractions. So that's one of the secrets to be productive in your home office. Setting the time, scheduling it in your calendar, and then really doing a block of time where you get things done. Another thing that often keeps me productive is when I have bigger projects, because I always set something challenging for myself where I can really move myself and my business a big step forward. It might be a big goal to look at, but I always chunk it down into little chunks. For example, if I create an online course, I've created many online courses over the last years. I always look at the big course first. What's the outcome? What idea do I want to carry with that course, and so on. And then I break it down into little chunks. For example, I have to get the idea on paper. I have to get the idea and structure it into different modules for the course, for example. That would be one block. The next block, in order to create that, would be to create a presentation. The next block would be to record the video so people can watch it, so people can listen to it. The next step would be to edit the video and upload it into the member area. And then the next block would be to do the marketing for the video, for the online course. Just as an example, you might have different goals, you might have bigger or smaller goals. How can you chunk them down into little chunks so they are doable and you can really do them one bit at a time, and you know the whole thing is moving forward without paralyzing you with fear because it's so big. Instead, you do the little steps and you move forward a little bit every day. So that's another secret for productivity. Make a plan on how you want to accomplish that. And then it's important to, you can also set a timer. That's what I sometimes do when I do my 90 power minutes. Especially in the beginning, I did it a lot because you probably know that very often people get their peak productivity when a deadline is set. For example, you remember that from school probably, or from university, that a certain exam date is set. And even if you have to study the biggest books available or the biggest courses or the most complicated things, the date for the exam is set. And by that date, you have to know the most you can do. And there are people who get really, really busy and productive the closer it gets to that date. And all of a sudden, they don't have any distractions anymore or any excuses, but they get to work, get things done, and remember the most they can in such a short time. Remember, you had, or imagine you had that every day with setting a timer and you know, oh, I can take time off after these 90 minutes, but I have to get this thing done in 90 minutes. Can be a different time for you as well. But with a timer, you really focus in on that thing, knowing that you'll be ready after the 90 minutes, but also knowing that you get the most done in those 90 minutes. That's one of the secrets as well. And nowadays, I often set a timer as well, even though I have it so much in me already because I set the timer so much. That's, yeah, those are really things that you get inside. You just carry them with you, and it's just like a habit. Another thing is, there are always things we can do or we should do every day to move things forward. So what are the top income producing activities for you? What are the top health things for you you do every day, the top mindset things? Choose a handful of things you do every day, no matter what. Because when I implemented that in my home business, that really helped save me a lot of time and energy. Because if you're doing certain tasks that you do every day that keep you healthy, that keep you alive, that keep your business thriving, if there's like a handful of essential tasks you do every day anyway, then what changed the game for me was not thinking about them in terms of whether I feel like that today, or should I do it today, or should I not do it today, but just set them as a given. The tasks, the handful of essential tasks I do every day. I don't think about, oh, do I feel like it today, or should I do, or should I not do it? Because as Jim Rohn already said, the little things are often as easy to do as they are not to do. So there are a handful of things I do every day where I don't waste time and energy on thinking and feeling, do I feel like that? Are the stars aligned and whatever? But I just do them. And that's another secret, or that leads us to another secret, that if you have a good balance of sleep and relaxation and productivity, and then you still have times where you don't feel motivated, or you don't know where to start, then just start doing it. Because if you slept enough, if you have a good balance overall, then just getting into that energy, sometimes it doesn't come naturally. Sometimes you don't awake with motivation, but the moment you get going, the moment you get into that task, the energy is there as well. I do that on days where I don't feel like it, or on days where the clouds are very low and it's raining, or whatever we distract ourselves with. And I just do the handful of things, I just do them. And that makes things easy for me because I know they are essential, and I know I don't have to go into that internal discussion, oh, should I do it? Should I not do it? Do I feel like it? So maybe there are tasks in your home business or working from home right now that are absolutely essential, where you don't have to think about it. And instead of sitting there at your desk for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, and thinking about it, you just get right into it, and you get into that flow of energy, and you get focused and get things done. So those are a few secrets from the last years of working from home. For me, it's not a big change. Nowadays, I show many people how to work at home. I show many people how to create passive income as well. So for me, it's business as usual, but for many people, I know it's a big change to come from the office to do everything, all that work stuff at home, and that can be a big challenge. So I wrote to you in the title, I always do things in a fragrant way. And if you know my videos, I love essential oils. And let's dive into some essential oils for productivity. If you could take a look around at my desk right now, there are so many oils and inspiring things around me. There are my goals on this side, and I love to meditate, so I have an inspiring part of my desk where I can meditate before I start a task. And I have inspiring pictures around me and symbols of wealth. And then I have a lot of oils on my desk. So let's dive into the essential oils for productivity. The first one is lemon essential oil. And I always have my diffuser here right at my desk, and that's usually filled with one of these 4 oils. Some I just apply around my head or on my chest or just inhale them. And I always have something inspiring in the diffuser. So the first one I use to focus and to concentrate is lemon essential oil. Lemon brings back the good memories from summer vacation, the good sunny moments, the good mood you have when you're out in the sun and relaxed. Some people also know it from the spa, you know, in the sauna when you're sweating and relaxing and detoxing. And I love to create that spa atmosphere right at the desk I'm working at every day. So first of all, oils for productivity, I use lemon. I just take a drop and then inhale. And it's so fresh. It's like opening a window, not physically here, but in every cell of my body, and letting that fresh air and fresh energy in. I mean, it's so motivating. Lemon is also a very good cleansing oil, and it gives you a feeling of being awake and focused, and it's a good oil for concentration, and it's also one of my sunny oils. You know, here in Hamburg we had a few sunny days, but especially in winter or autumn, spring, those times of change, you get a lot of rain here as well, and gray clouds, and there isn't really a lot of light sometimes. So I use lemon to remind me of those sunny times. And it brings me into that, just that good feeling mood and enjoying things. Because when you found your most productive time during the day and you set those time blocks, then there's nothing else but be in a good mood and be productive, right? So I use lemon oil for that in the diffuser or just smelling it from my hand. And that's really an inspiration. The second one I love to use is peppermint. I carry peppermint around everywhere I go. Why is that? Because I love to put a drop on the palm of my hand, if it's not already in the diffuser. And then I just move around my whole head. And on the tips of my fingers, I always take some peppermint and I go around my head and my neck and my shoulders. Because, you know, when you sit at your desk and you work for 4 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever your time you need to get things done, you basically sit in the same position. So it's good to relax those muscles in between and to move in between. And peppermint helps to relax the muscles. And if you already feel a little bit tense after the whole day, for example, you can put peppermint on and it relaxes a lot. That's another secret of productivity, by the way, that you keep moving and changing the workplace position a few times a day. I think nobody can sit like 10 hours in one position and not feel tired or worn out. So my desk is one of the places I work at. I have a comfy chair, which is good for the back and good to sit on as well and to be productive. I have a lot of light coming in during the day. I have a daylight light bulb here, which is good for working when it's already dark. And then over there in the other room, there's my little studio where I do most of my videos. You probably know the black screen I have from my webinars or other live videos. And there I have a standing table. So whenever I feel like I've been sitting for too long, I change over to that table, which has exactly the right height for me to still use the computer and to stand upright, to train my muscles, and to be able to change positions during times of work. That's, for me, that's very important, to not sit at the desk for like 8 or 10 hours a day without moving, but to take some breaks in between, to change positions of the workplace, and that way stay productive. But anyway, peppermint helps me to relax those muscles in between and to keep my focus, because it keeps me awake and energized. And sometimes I even apply it on my belly, because, you know, when we put pressure on ourselves, when we stress ourselves, that can emotionally go through our stomach and belly as well. So that's just a nice relaxation. Then there are 2 special blends I use. You know, sometimes when you start working on something, that inner resistance comes up, or all kinds of beliefs. Oh, should I really do that? Can I really like inspire people? Is that the right thing? Whatever comes up, whatever belief or emotion that keeps you away from being productive, that can be quite challenging emotionally as well. So one of my favorite blends for being productive and focused, that's an oil blend called Clarity. And Clarity not only helps me to keep my focus, I apply it the same way I just applied peppermint, just a drop on the palm of my hand, and then I take the tips of my fingers and I just apply it all around the head and put it in the diffuser as well. And that helps me to be awake and focused and productive. And this blend has a lot of herb oils, which give us that fresh feeling from the herbal garden, a relaxing and refreshing visit in the herbal garden. And we get that same kind of feeling, that relaxed and easy flow of being productive. The herb oils, they awaken us and they let us really use all of the, how do you say, all of the brain power we have. So that's why I love to use Clarity. And also when different emotions like inner resistance, or sometimes, you know, when you work on a project and you think you're not worthy, or is it good enough, or whatever thoughts come up, Clarity clears emotionally as well. It's like as if the emotions were like a cloud around you, distracting you from working in a focused way. And with Clarity, the clouds just clear. Then another inspiring oil blend I use when I really want to get into every corner of ideas and being super productive, then I use an oil blend called Brain Power. I think the name says it all. It's not just herbs, it's different essential oils. And that really helps me in times of deep focus, in times of being overly productive. That's Brain Power. And by the way, talking of being productive, you know, we are in a special time right now where many people are at home with their families, trying to work from home. That's why I gave you quite a few productivity tips in this video. And I'm prepared as well for everyone who wants to dive into this fragrant experience and try out the oils I recommended for focusing. Just send me a message and I have the fragrant cards ready. So I just put a drop for you on a card and send it over to you. Luckily, that's still possible in our times nowadays, which is a great opportunity, by the way, to really be at home and to dive deep inside and also to focus. But it's nice to have a fragrant inspiration every now and then. So just message me if you want to dive into that, and I'll send you a fragrant letter over, as usual. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know I always do things in a fragrant way. If you want to watch a few inspiring videos in the meantime, feel free to go to my website, livefragrantly.com. There I have fragrant meditations from Hawaii for you, and really videos from all parts of the world, giving you inspiration on wellness, on staying focused, on personal development, transforming emotions, and so on. So I invite you to that. And yeah, I'll see you in the next live video. Feel free to share your productivity tips with us. Maybe there's something I haven't mentioned here in the video. Feel free to use the comments for that. I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and I wish you a wonderful, productive day or evening wherever you are, a productive week, and a good focus on the positive and moving things forward. I'll see you in the next video. Fragrant greetings here from my home office in my home in Hamburg, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.